Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we have 3 very scary true stories, and I'm not messing around. These aren't made up ghost stories or cheesy urban legends. These are real accounts, straight from people who lived through them, sent to me or scraped from the darkest corners of the web. I've got a hiker who stumbled into something freaky on a foggy mountain, a nurse who saw things she can't unsee in a creepy old hospital, and a guy who met a stranger on a lonely highway that still gives him nightmares. This is Brighty Nightmares. We're diving into the weird, the terrifying, and the downright unexplainable, so let's go. This first story comes from a guy named Ryan. He shot me an email back in 2020, said he had to get this off his chest, and trust me, you'll see why. Ryan was 25 at the time, living in Marin County, California, right up near San Francisco, where the redwoods tower and the fog rolls thick. He was one of those outdoorsy types. He loved camping, hiking, all those rugged solo stuff. He didn't need a buddy, didn't need a map half the time, just him and the trails. And his favourite spot? Mount Tamalpais, big, sprawling mountain, miles of paths snaking through forests and cliffs, views of the Pacific that will knock your socks off. And by day, it's postcard perfect, tourists snapping pictures, families picnicking, the works. But at night, it's a whole different beast. Locals whisper about it, say it's cursed, haunted, whatever you want to call it. There's history up there, dark stuff. And back in 1980, a hiker named Barbara Schulman went missing. 24 years old, out for a day trek, never came back. The cops found her backpack near a trail, ripped open, contents scattered, but no signs of her. No body, no clues, just gone. Then there's the 90s stories, hikers hearing voices, seeing shadows, and one guy claiming he got chased by something he couldn't see. Ryan knew all this, heard it from his buddies, he read it online, but he wasn't fazed. The guy was fearless, or maybe just stubborn. Said he hiked Tamalpais at night a dozen times, no big deal. He loved the solitude, the way the world went quiet. Until October 2019, that's when it all went sideways. It was late in the month, foggy as hell, think pea soup thick, can't see your hand in front of your face kind of fog. Ryan decided to hit the steep ravine trail after dark. Dumb move? Probably, but he's done it before. He knew the route like his own backyard. Narrow path, steep switchbacks, redwoods so tall they'll block the stars, and the cliffs dripping off into blackness. He parked his beat-up Jeep at the Pantol Ranger Station around 10 PM. He threw on his gear, headlamp strapped to his forehead, hunting knife on his belt, phone in his pocket with a full battery just in case. The weather was chilly, say mid-40s, the wind whistling through the trees, the fog so dense it clung to his jacket like wet cotton. He kept his headlight dim. He didn't want to blind himself or let anyone spot him from a distance. Said it helped him feel the trail, hear the sounds, the crunching leaves, the dripping water, the occasional owl hoot. It was about 30 minutes in, maybe a mile up, when he stopped near Lone Tree Spring, a little clearing with a trickle of water running down the rocks. He knelt to refill his canteen, fog swirling around him, and that's when it hit him. Whistling. Not the wind messing with branches, no. This was human, deliberate, sharp and clear as a bell. Someone out there, in the middle of nowhere, whistling an old tune. Oh, Susanna. He thought those notes cutting through the damp air. It was coming from up the trail, maybe 50 yards ahead, but the fog screwed with his sense of distance. Could it have been closer? Could it have been further? Brian wasn't spooked, yet figured it was another hiker, maybe a camper who didn't care about the late hour. He stood up, wiped his hands on his jeans and shouted, "Hey, who's there? You up ahead." Just the whistling, looping those same few bars over and over like a broken record. There was no footsteps, no rustling, no voice, just that tune floating through the mist. He adjusted his headlamp, swept the beam around, trees, rocks, fog, nothing else. He shrugged it off and he kept walking, figured they'd cross paths eventually. But here's the thing, it didn't stop. It followed him. Not louder, not closer. It was just there, matching his pace, like an echo that wouldn't quit. He stopped again, killed the lamp, held his breath to listen, really listen. The whistling kept going, steady, unhurried, maybe 40 yards off now, maybe less. He called out again, but louder. "Hey, cut it out, man! Who's there?" Silence for a beat, then it picked up again. Same damn tune, same damn rhythm. Now Ryan's starting to sweat, even in the cold. He's thinking, okay, maybe it's a prank, some arsehole messing with me. He's hiked alone plenty, dealt with weirdos before, drunk teens, sketchy drifters, but this felt off. It was too calm, too precise. He clicked his lamp back on and he kept moving, faster now, boots thudding on the dirt. 10 minutes later, he hit a fork, trail splits, one way to Dipsea Trail, longer and loopier, the other back to Pantol, shorter but steeper. The whistling stopped right as he got there. It was dead silence, fog pressing in, his own breathing loud in his ear. He exhaled, shook his head, thought, finally, it's done. He picked Dipsea, wanted the extra distance to clear his head. Big mistake. He's maybe 5 steps in when it starts again, whistling, closer this time, sharper, like it's right off his left shoulder, hidden in the trees. He spun, knife out, beam slashing through the fog, yelling, "Show yourself, you freak!" The whistling cut off mid-note, and then a laugh, low, guttery, wet, like someone choking on their own spit. Not human, not animal, something in between. His light caught a flicker, a shape, tall, thin, darting between redwoods maybe 20 feet away. Too fast for a person, too upright for a deer, gone before he could focus. His stomach dropped, legs locked, brain screaming to run. He bolted down Dipsea, full sprint, fog blinded him, branches snagging his sleeves. That laugh chased him, fading in and out, sometimes behind, sometimes ahead, like it was playing with him. He's thinking, what the hell is this? A guy? A ghost? Am I losing it? He's fit, he runs marathons, but this was panic fuel, heart slamming, lungs burning. Quarter mile in, his foot snagged a root, down he went, hard, headlamps smashing against the rock, shattering. Pitch black, fog, trees, silence, no lights, no bearings. He scrambled up, hands shaking, yanked his phone out, bummed the flashlight on. Dim glow, barely cut in the dark. The laughing stopped, but now footsteps, slow, deliberate, crunching leaves maybe 30 feet back. Heavy, uneven, like something dragging a leg. He didn't look, he just ran, tripping over roots, scraping his palms bloody on bark, the phone lights bouncing wild. Took him an hour, but felt like 10, to hit the fire road near Stinston Beach, legs jelly, shirt soaked, fog dripping off his face. He looped back to his jeep, every step expecting that laugh, that whistle, those steps. Nothing. Just that weight, that feeling of eyes boring into his back. Ryan made it home, locked every door. Didn't sleep till noon, says he hasn't touched Tamalpais since. Not at night, not ever. He dug into it later, found old forum posts, hikers talking about a whistling man up there. Some tie it to Miwok legends, spirit of a lost hunter, luring people off cliffs. Others say it's a real guy, a psycho who stalks the trails, been at it for years. No one's caught him, there's no proof, just stories. Ryan's not sure, human, ghost, or his mind cracking in the fog. He's got scars on his hands still, proof it wasn't a dream. Says if you hike up there, stick to the daylight and don't stop if you hear whistling. Next stop's from Carla, a nurse, 31, back in 2022, worked at St. Alphonsus Medical Center in Boise, Idaho. She emailed me this a while back, said it's why she quit night shifts for good. Carla was ICU, 11 PM to 7 AM, 4 nights a week, dealing with vents, drips, the whole life and death grind. Hospitals at night, creepy as hell. Long halls, dim lights flickering, machines humming like they're whispering secrets. St. Alphonsus was ancient, built in 1940s, all creaky floors and peeling paint. Staff loved their ghost stories, said it was haunted, had been for decades. Big one was Sister Mary, a nun who died in 1963. Fell down an elevator shaft on the 4th floor, snapped her neck. Nurses swore they'd see her, white habit, pale face, drifting past rooms. Carla didn't buy it, thought it was just tired people talking crap to stay awake. She'd worked there 2 years, laughed it off as rumours, said she'd rather deal with a ghost than a crashing patient, the famous last words. This night, Wednesday, slow as molasses, half the beds were empty, the air was thick with antiseptic and dust smell. She's on floor 3, charting at the nurse's station around 2 AM, hunched over a laptop, the coffee going cold. Lights are low, hall's quiet except for the occasional beep from a monitor down the way. Then ding, call light for room 312 pops on. Weird as hell, 312's been vacant for days, there's no patients, no reason for it to trip. She groaned, figured it's a glitch, old wiring, happens sometimes. She grabbed her stethoscope, headed down the hall, cold, colder than it should have been. The lights buzzing like angry bees. She's passing 308, 310, the shadow stretching long on the tiles, and as she nears 312, she hears it, singing, soft, female, faint but clear, amazing grace, those slow, mournful notes drifting out the door. She stopped, her hairs on her neck prickling, thinking, what the hell? She peeked in, bed's empty, sheets are flat, no one's there, but the singing kept going, louder now, like it was right in her ear. She hit the light switch, bam, silence. The room's normal, sterile, still, cool button dark. She reset it, muttered, stupid tech, and marched back. 5 minutes later, back at the station, ding, 312 again. Now she's a little pissed, thinks it's a prank, maybe the janitor screwing with her. She grabbed Mike, her co-worker. He was a big dude, 10 years at St. Alphonsus, he's seen it all. Come with me, she said. This is ridiculous. They stomped down there together. The hall's colder now, breath fogging a little, the lights still buzzing. There's no singing this time, but as they step into room 312, it hits her. Bleach. Sharp, fresh, not the usual hospital cleaner. This was overpowering, like someone dumped a bucket. Mike checked the bathroom, empty, dry. Then, tap, tap, tap. Slow, rhythmic, from the closet. Carla froze, her pulse racing. Mike yanked the door open. Nothing. Just gowns swaying slightly, like they've been brushed. The tapping stopped, but as they turned to leave, the call light buzzed again. Right there, still resat, like it was taunting them. Mike cursed, screw this, and they bolted back, half laughing, half freaked. At 3 AM, Carla's got meds to run to floor 4, IV bags, painkillers, you know, the usual. She took the stairs, the elevator gave her creeps after the nun talk, all those stories of doors opening to empty shafts. The 4th floor's dead, understaffed, just her and a janitor mopping somewhere far off. She's in room 418, adjusting an IV for an old guy on a vent. Steady beeps, chest rising slow. She's focused, tube in hand, when she catches it in the window's reflection. A woman in white, long hair, pale face, standing right behind her, still as stone. No sound, No breath. Just there. Carla whipped around. Nothing. Just the patient. The room empty. Her hands shook. The IV needle slipping. She checked the hall. Deserted. The lights dim. There's no one there. She finished up, muttering, "Get it together." As she stepped out, the door slammed hard. Frame rattling. No wind. No reason. She jumped, spun around. The room still empty. The patient unchanged. She legged it to the stairs, her legs wobbly, mind racing. Was it a ghost? What the hell was that? She finished her shift in a fog, told her supervisor at 7 a.m. Older lady who's been there forever. She just shrugged. Old building, weird stuff happens, don't worry. Carla wasn't buying it. She went home and crashed, but couldn't shake it. Next day, she hit the library. She dug up some newspaper clippings found in 1978. An article about a patient in room 312. Margaret Clean died of hypothermia, sang hymns non-stop till the end and drove the staff nuts. No record of her haunting, but the bleach smell, the singing, it lined up. Carla quit a month later, took a day gig at a clinic, couldn't handle nights anymore. Says she still hears that tapping in her sleep, wakes up checking corners, think it was Margaret or something wearing her face. The last one's from Derek, 27, posted this on Reddit's Let's Not Meet in 2020. The guy was shook, and you'll get why. He was driving cross country, Ohio to Colorado, a cheap trip, sleeping in his car, old Honda Civic, beat to hell but reliable. This was November, it was freezing, roads empty, just him and the hum of tyres on asphalt. He'd been at it for 14 hours, blurry-eyed when his gaslight pinged near Gothenburg, Nebraska, middle of nowhere on Highway 30. Flat fields stretching forever, stars sharp in the cold. The clock hit 1 a.m, he's yawning, knuckles white on the wheel, when he spotted a 24-hour station, dingy, one pump flickering, the clerk inside half dead behind the counter. Sign said open, barely legible and the paint peeling. Derek pulled in, gravel crunching, killed the engine, stretched his legs, stiff from hours sitting. He filled up, $20 cash, pump clanking like it's on its last legs, then hit the bathroom out back, a standalone shack, concrete walls, bulb buzzing dim, no lock, and the door was warped so it wouldn't shut right. He's in there, splashing water on his face, mirrors cracked, reflection all jagged. When he hears it, boots on gravel, slow, deliberate, circling the shack, crunch, 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 steady as a heartbeat. He froze, water dripping off his chin, thinking, drunk local? A tweaker? Peeked through a crack in the door. A guy, tall, hooded coat, pacing slow, hands in pockets. He couldn't see his face, just a shadow, but he was close. 10 feet, maybe less. Derek's no wimp. He's about 6'2". He lifts weights, but this felt wrong. There's no yelling, no banging, just that quiet circling. He waited, breath shallow, 5 minutes, 10, till the steps stopped. Cracked open the door, gone. The lot was empty, only the pump light flickering. He exhaled, shook it off. He headed to his car, the keys jangling, unlocked it fast. Then he saw him, the same guy, standing by the pump, just staring. Hood up, face dark, no movement, just eyes locked on Derek. He waved, casual, "Hey man, what's good?" Nothing, statue still, head tilted slightly. Derek's skin crawled. He jumped in, slammed the door, fired the engine, and peeled out. Tyre squealing, gravel spitting. He checked his mirror. The guy's walking after him, slow, right down the centre line, the arms loose at his side. Derek hit 60, 70. The fields were blurring, thinking, no way he's keeping up, no way. 10 minutes later, heart still hammering, his headlights snagged something. Same guy, standing on the shoulder, hood up, staring, same damn pose. No car, no bike, no nothing, just there, like he teleported. Derek floored it, 80 now, wind roaring, the mirror empty, but his gut screaming. He's still out there. 20 miles up, he hit a truck stop. Bright lights, semis idling, safe, parked. He locked the doors, stayed awake till dawn, jumping at every shadow, every creak. No sign of the guy, but that feeling, watched, hunted, is stuck with him. Next morning, he asked the cashier. She was an older lady, had a smoker's voice. She went pale, stubbed a cigarette, said, "You saw the watcher." Locals call him that, highway watcher, who got smeared by a semi years back. No ID, just a coat like Derek described. Shows up near the station, follows people, never speaks. Derek hit the web later, found a 2015 article, North Platte Telegraph, John Doe killed on Highway 30, a hit and run, body mangled, coat shredded but intact. The cops never found the driver, case cold. Derek's not sure. A ghost? Psycho? Doesn't matter. He flies now, he won't touch that stretch of road. Says if you're driving 30 at night, keep your tank full and don't stop for anything. There you have it, 3 true stories straight from the edge of reality, where the line between what's real and what's not gets blurry. Ryan's whistling nightmare, Carla's hospital haunt, and Derek's highway stalker. Any of them hit too close to home? Drop your own creepy tales in the comment, I read every one. Smash that subscribe if you're hooked. I've got more where this came from. Sleep tight, or don't. Catch you next time.